Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Chalk Talk with Brett Gordon, the head coach of the LaSalle College High School Explorers. Brett, I think there's a pep in everyone's step here this week. It is LaSalle versus St. Joseph's Prep Week, the two arch rivals, the best rivalry in the Philadelphia Catholic League, and if I may be so bold, as good a rivalry as there is in the state of Pennsylvania. So, first off, here you sit, still unbeaten, getting ready to take on your arch rival. How do you feel?
Overall, I think we've done a really good job. The players, with continuing to follow along the thought process of one game at a time and worry about our process, not necessarily our outcome. So we talk a lot about that. We've certainly we've played a pretty strong schedule year to date, especially right out of the gate. So I think our kids have reacted very well. And one of the things we talked about as far back as January when I first met the team was, we have to, in order to play in these types of games that we're going to play in Saturday night, you have to earn your way into those games to have an opportunity to win and challenge programs like St. Joe's. So, you mentioned the rivalry. Candidly, I don't think it's much of a rivalry as of late. Um, we just haven't fared well. In fact, we haven't even really come close as a program to competing with them with any level of consistency. So I don't talk to our players about the rivalry. I share with them examples and experiences that I had both as a player and a coach over the years. And our hope and our expectation is that our play will take care of itself, and our job is to make sure that we figure out a way from 2024 and beyond to ensure that this is a rivalry moving forward, and that's what has us excited.
The venue itself should be jumping on Saturday night, 7 o'clock p.m. at Upper Dublin High School. That is a terrific venue for big time high school football. I know you said you're not looking too far down the road and more process oriented, but when the lights are shining and your young men have those opportunities that, as you mentioned, they've earned the opportunity now to play a meaningful game like this, what will that feel like?
Yeah, it's going to be an electric atmosphere. I told the kids in our meeting on Monday. Everybody in this program has played in a LaSalle St. Joe's prep game, but they really haven't experienced the full experience of I'll call it an anticipated matchup like they're going to have this week. I said, so that should excite our players. The reality is for the vast majority of players in this game on both sides of the ball, as I told them, I said, this environment you're going to be in Saturday night is going to be the pinnacle of your football careers, even for a number of you guys that go on to play in college. So when you come to a place like LaSalle to play football, you come here to play and get opportunities to play in front of our fans in an atmosphere like this. We've spent a lot of time this week just kind of trying to set expectations as to what to expect. It's going to be an emotional night. I'm excited for the opportunity, really, for the kids to go out against this level of an opponent, with an atmosphere that's going to be very electric and really give us an opportunity to see where we stack up, as early October's here.
Let's talk about what we've learned to this point. You've played your full complement of non-league games. You took care of Cardinal O'Hara in your first Philadelphia Catholic League battle last week, Brett. And first off, I felt as if Cardinal O'Hara came out swinging in that game. And we talked prior to the contest. You knew that there was some talent on both sides of the ball. At the end of the day, you guys did pull away and were very convincing in victory. But I'm curious as to what you saw from Cardinal O'Hara, what challenges they presented early on in that contest, and how your guys adjusted.
Yeah, I think the expectations going into the game, at least I could speak for myself and our staff, was they had they had a handful of players that we knew could hurt you if you let them get going. So they had some pretty good skill players defensively. They had some kids on film that stood out, and then their schemes were fairly sophisticated and in some parts complex as to how they approach the game. So they had our attention as a staff. We knew it wasn't going to be easy by any stretch. I'll give the credit to our kids. I mean, we had really three unforced turnovers on the offensive side of the ball in the first half, which kept the game a little closer than probably it should have been. But then at the same time, they had a couple of opportunities to make some plays, which could have led to even one or two scores based on looking at the film afterwards, and they weren't able to connect on it. So at the end of the day, it's high school football. I challenged the team at halftime, that we had to clean up, some areas on both sides of the ball and on special teams. And, the part I was most positive about coming out of the game was the kids really locked in at halftime, responded well, and then, got after O'Hara pretty aggressively there in that third quarter. And then again, got us a chance to get some young guys in the game, for the fourth quarter. So overall, they've done everything that we've asked them to do as far as staying in the moment. And that being said, I still think we have a lot of room to improve as a team.
You spoke earlier in our conversation here about these players, particularly the juniors and seniors, may have played games against St. Joseph's Prep, but in terms of highly anticipated and meaningful football, this maybe stands at the top of the list. I think about a couple of guys in particular, Joey O'Brien, Gavin Sidwar, Grayson McHugh, some of those juniors. There are others that I'm missing, of course, that they were playing in this game as underclassmen, right? Starting as freshmen in some cases. And now, in some ways, the turnover at quarterback for St. Joseph's Prep, some of that talent that has moved on to three Division I wide receivers. Now it almost feels as if, not to say there isn't veteran talent that's been there, that's juniors and seniors now for St. Joseph's Prep, but that Joey O'Brien, Gavin Sidwar, Grayson McHugh, the others are now sort of elder statesmen of this rivalry. Not that they've gotten the best end of it, as you mentioned, but is there some element to that they've been there, done that, they know what to expect in this type of contest and are now veteran leaders?
Yeah, so from an experience standpoint, 100% agree. We have a group of players now that has a decent amount of experience under their belt. And will that help us as we prepare for this game? Sure it will. They've gotten a lot more experience under their belt. I do think some of the schedule that we've played this year is going to help us. But we also need to make sure and remind ourselves that St. Joe's has proven for years and years and years that they know how to win, that they always are improving as the season goes on, and they always build to a certain peak. And what I'm trying to remind our guys of is we still have to prove, first and foremost to ourselves, that we can continue to improve and be playing our best football in the October-November timeframe and not in August and September. So that experience is there. I certainly love the fact that, we have a core group of our current juniors and seniors, some of which have had a couple of years of starter experience under their belt. And I'm certainly relying on them pulling on that. I'm really excited to see, how far developed and along we are as a team. I think that's really, for me, the exciting part as the head coach is seeing all the work that's been put in kind of come to fruition. The players, you've heard me say it a number of times, have really bought in on a new way of doing things. And the idea is, in order to, I say, earn the right to compete and win these games, it's all based on your prep work, all based on making sure that all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and then making sure that there's an intensity level coming in with a mindset, not only to go in and compete well, but a mindset of expecting to win the football game. And that's really all we've been talking about all week.
You talked a lot about their development, right? In this group, and one area in particular that St. Joe's Prep excels, regardless of who they're playing, is that front seven, getting to the quarterback and playing in the box. And then, quite frankly, on special teams, blocking punts and field goal kicks. They have been incredibly proficient in that regard. I'm sure it's been a focus for you, but I'm curious as to what you see from those two units, the guys protecting the quarterback and trying to, block the front seven, and then the special teams units as well.
Yeah, I think I have the utmost respect for Coach Roken and his staff for what they've been able to not only build but sustain for such a long period of time. When you look at them defensively, they're just a relentless bunch that gets after the running game, gets after the quarterback. They're an aggressive style defense. They always have been. That's kind of what they hang their hat on defensively, as far as just the style of play. I've always admired it from afar, to be honest with you. And then, very well coached teams historically, where that shows itself is how particular they are in special teams. So I've always been impressed with how they operate all their special teams units. They put pressure on you. They make sure that you have to spend time during the week on it. I'd like to think, we're taking a little bit of a page out of what they've done from the standpoint of making sure that special teams is a major focal point of what we do every single week. Because it is an area of the game, especially in these types of games, where you could argue that, hey, the talent level or the team's past performance records, what have you, could lead to a close game. Oftentimes these games can be decided by a big play here or there, but certainly in the special teams unit. So they do a great job really across the board in all three phases. They make you earn everything. They make you work as a coach. They make you work as a player. And that's why they've had the success that they've had for as long as they've had. So that being said, as I said earlier, it's a great opportunity for us to get a feel for, exactly where we're at this stage of the season.
Well, it's a great opportunity for LaSalle football fans, Philadelphia Catholic League football fans, and fans across the state to hear from you on a weekly basis, get a behind the scenes peek at this program. So I appreciate you doing this. And it's going to be a lot of ears and eyes, both at Upper Dublin and watching the game for those that can't make it. So I wish you the best, Coach. And we'll see you on Saturday night.
Thanks, Bob. We're looking forward to it. And, hopefully we'll have some fun.